You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me. Oh. My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can come over.
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and as many possible places that I can get you to drink my Kool-Aid so you can have happiness 88% of the time. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no K-words, no Kanye talk at all on this show. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy. And we always start with affirming what is good in life. You are tuned in on Thursday. As you can see, I have my co-host / sound engineer. That seems to be the path to get to be a co-host these days. His name is Frank Pirolo, and he is here to help me have straight talk about relationships on Thursdays. Welcome back to my studio, Frank Pirolo.
Hey, Dr. Marissa.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am happy and grateful and ready to have breakfast with you. We take a bite out of my gratitude sandwich. And look, we already have someone just gave us the finger. Not that finger, but this finger. If you are on LinkedIn, Facebook, or my Home Central YouTube channel, hello, and thank you for joining us. The eyeballs are rolling in, and you get to participate in breakfast by putting in the chat what you are grateful for. That's the top of the button because Frank likes it on the top. And we're going to do one word gratitudes. I am grateful for a new day.
I'm grateful that I live in a safe place.
Grateful for humor.
I am grateful for my family.
I'm grateful for coffee. Okay. Last one.
I am grateful for music.
Very appropriate. If you are in I guess you serve anywhere really, but you're based in the IE, right? Mm-hmm. But Frank is a DJ. So if you have any DJ needs, go to Frank. I forgot to mention that before. What's your how do people get a hold of you?
You can go to lakesidedjservices.com. That's Lakeside DJ Services with an S at the end. And I'd love to chat with you. If you're looking for a DJ or a photo booth for a special event, I'd love to chat with you and talk about it, and maybe I can help you out.
Fabulous. So I am going to appreciate, because we're going to go to the bottom of the button now, which is because I like it on the bottom. And what we do is not talk about things outside of ourselves, but actually inside of ourselves. So what do we like about ourselves? And the reason why I ask you to do this is we're going to pretend we're about to go to bed, and not with each other, but we're going to go to bed and say, instead of thinking about all the things we did wrong or who done us wrong, which doesn't allow you to fall asleep easier, instead, I want you to think about those things you like about yourself. Because it is my BS, my belief system, that good mental health starts with self-care, self-love, and definitely not self-hate or loathing, which sometimes a lot of us have that critic that is constantly telling us what's wrong with us. So we're going to work our muscle to ask the critic to sit down and replace it with things that we like about ourselves. So, Frank, I'm going to throw it at you this morning. You get to start.
I like that I am open with my emotions.
Ooh, nice. I appreciate that I'm always willing to learn.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
I appreciate that I am a critical thinker.
Good. I appreciate that I'm a multitasker. One more.
I appreciate that I am. Oh, I was just on the. I just had it.
That I remember things 88% of the time.
There we go. That works.
And my last one is I appreciate that I can take a compliment better than I used to. There you go. And there it is, breakfast with Dr. Marissa and Frank Pirolo here on Straight Talk on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106, and streaming everywhere. It's the station that leaves no listener behind. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. As you can tell, this is also Affirmation Central, where I use that applause button often and much because we get enough negative crap on social media and media in general, and it's a weapon of mass distraction, trying to pull us away from having a happy life in my own little hula hoop, knowing that I have everything that I need. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my fridge. I have money in my wallet, a car I can drive. And most of us are in that boat. And if you are in that boat, there's nothing to be worried or complain about. There's my first soapbox. I went out yesterday and ran errands, and man, you just can't turn around without bumping into with your ear someone complaining about something. And I am definitely going to start up my 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa that I started 2011. And we do it once we get to that place where I go, oh, we need to start it again. And we're about ready to roll on that one. So you can go to drmarissa.life and check that out and enroll if you would like. So if you invest $21 on my nonprofit and just donate that, if you make it 21 consecutive days, I will double your money. So I don't know. We should probably try this with all of my co-hosts. Yes? I don't think I'll have much luck with the lawn, though. Tomorrow. We'll see. Hopefully she isn't listening to this. But here we go. What is the topic for today? And this time I picked it. I was someone said something about, didn't I see you on TV talking about relationships? And I went, yes, on KUSI. So I pulled that out of the vault and I put it down as my social clip yesterday. And the part that I wanted to zoom in on or StreamYard in on is you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. We've all heard that, right? You've heard that, I'm sure. So yeah. I don't know. The first time anyone hears that, what the heck does that mean? You have to love yourself, because really this is a more recent thing where you talk about loving yourself, caring yourself, mental health, thanks to a lot of people in the limelight. Certainly my honorable moniker, Asian Oprah. Oprah really opened the door up with that interview with the prince and Princess Markle. She talked about mental health and how she was feeling, and so everybody now seems to be okay. I mean, not just because of that, but we've ramped up into talking about self-love and self-care. But what do you mean when it says you have to love yourself before you can love someone else? That's the topic for today. And if I were to hear that phrase, if I don't love myself, then, if I do love myself fully and completely, then why do I need anybody else? Which is sort of where I am sometimes lately. And if I'm looking for love in all the wrong places, where is the right place? So that's what came out of my mind last night. You can tell I was thinking a lot. And we are going to be talking and answering those questions today. So if you have any thoughts or opinions or questions on any of that, please do ask them in the chat. So Frank, I just rambled off 3 questions there. What is your reaction to them?
The first thing that comes to mind with the quote, "You have to love yourself before you can love someone else," is that I think a lot of people are looking for someone to fix them, which isn't your partner's job. They need to. How do I describe it? So, and sometimes it's hard to put things into words, but
that's all right.
They feel like they need. I can't be happy or I can't love myself unless I have this or that. But they need to just find their inner peace before they can care for someone else.
Mm. So it's kind of like the Jerry Maguire, "You complete me." So I am not whole unless I have someone to fill all the spots or the spaces that are not whole in and of myself. Is that about what you were saying?
Yeah, if you're not at peace with yourself, if you can't care for yourself, how are you doing to, or not by care for, I don't mean like, pay the bills and take care of, but I mean, if you can't care about and love yourself, how are you going to love someone else? It's not an easy thing to do because if you can't see past your own imperfections and your own flaws to find the good in someone or in yourself, then it's hard to do that with someone else as well.
Yes. So the whole that brings to mind something. I do relationship coaching, and I know that it's like, well, are you in a relationship? And it's like, no, but I have been in all different kinds. And I do the coaching with couples as well as individuals around relationships, because relationships, let's just put the moose on the table. Relationships are a giant part of life. I'm talking about romantic, intimate, the main, what are the main things that fill up your time and attention in life? Work and relationships and health. So I can't think of much else and maybe leisure or what you do for fun. So those are the 4 kind of things that you think about a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're thinking about a relationship, most often people come to me, they say, I want to find someone, or I want to be with someone who loves me in spite of me, who loves me, knows all of me, the good, bad, and the ugly, and still loves me, right? And I say, great, that sounds good. That sounds like something, you want to be comfortable when you're in an intimate relationship. You want to be able to let it all hang out and not have them go and take off running with their hair on fire. And that's one of the responses I used to say, because I was told this is not nice to say, is that people say, oh, you're so attractive, and how come you've been single for 6 years, 5 months, 4 weeks, 3 days, and 2 hours, but who's counting? And why aren't you, and it's like, well, one, I don't feel good about the way I look. I don't feel good inside my body, and they'll say, "Oh, you look beautiful though." And I said, "That's because I have clothes on. And if I took my clothes off and you saw the shape of my body and it looks nothing like it used to when I was a model, blah, 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 you would like run off like screaming with your hair on fire," which is not a very nice way to describe my body. But that is a great example of, I'm not going to be able to love somebody else if I feel that way about myself, right? Because no matter what they say to compliment me or how they show it, I'm not going to believe it. Now, I just went on a little tangent, so let me come back and finish the first thought I had, which was, if you are, I'm going to lose it too, if you are not, oh yeah, so you want someone to love you, good, bad, and ugly. But what is interesting is when you do have a partner, you're pointing out they're ugly. So you don't love them exactly as they are, good, bad, and ugly, but you want them to love you exactly the way you are. And that, my friends, is one of the reasons that relationships fall apart, is because what you want, you're not willing to give to that other person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I like you touched on the fact that if you're not happy with yourself, then you're not going to be comfortable around someone else being yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't be your true self in front of someone, especially someone you're close to, and feel comfortable about it and feel like you're good enough for them, or able to be
natural, authentic.
Authentic.
Yeah.
If you don't like your authentic self, how can you be authentic around people and be comfortable?
Exactly. Now, I do want to qualify that, because when I think of a man being natural and authentic around me, I'm not talking, I would not like to walk in on him when he's, in the bathroom doing his business, or, that married couples, or some people will say, can you share a bathroom? And it's like, yeah, I'm still, no matter how much I love that person, for me, that's like a little, like, I don't want them walking around, letting gas go, that's comfortable, right? But there are men I have dated where, once we're past that honeymoon stage and they're letting it all hang out, and it's like, I'm not crazy about that part of you. Well, this is who I am. It's like, okay. Hasta la vista.
Yeah, I think more from an emotional standpoint is where you have to be able to be comfortable, and obviously there's a level of respect and accounting for who you are around. You can still be authentic without being crude.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. That's a good word for it. And welcome. We're seeing eyeballs rolling in. If you just tuned in, it is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube TV channel, which is home to the Asian Oprah. All right, so we are now going to flip it a little and just define, so what are the components that are important to work on so that you do love yourself? So we just completed the argument that you really have to be comfortable with yourself before you can be comfortable with a guy. So what does that mean? Oh, and I just remember one other thing. You attract where you are. That's the law of attraction. That is a principle like gravity. You can believe it in or not, but it is what it is. What you focus on grows bigger, and what you put out, you are attracting. So if you don't like yourself, you're going to attract either someone who doesn't like you as well, which is what I did in my marriage, or attract someone who's equally uneasy or not secure in themselves as you are. And that is a pretty hard pill to swallow sometimes, because the women that come to me and say, why am I continually attracted to the idiot in the room who says I'm a jerk, but I go straight for them and I end up in relationships? Why is that? Why is that? And one of the reasons is because they don't value themselves enough to ask for someone or attract someone who treats them well. And that's a tough one, because nobody wants to take responsibility for being in a relationship with an asshole. Okay, I said that very clearly. Don't dump me on that one. I said it on purpose. It's ASHHOLE. That's from The Good Place, because Frank's like, I gotta hit the dump button. Well, the good thing is, I don't think I meant to ask you, did we get in trouble for last Friday?
No, I was able to dump it. I did talk to the manager about it to see if it was okay, and he said,
Yeah. She won't do it again.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
Yeah.
I
forgot to ask you about that, but yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
We got a little distracted there, but I think there are two other A words that are key to loving yourself, and one is accepting the flaws you have that you can't fix. You know, maybe a physical attribute about yourself you don't like, besides something that besides weight or something where you can work on it. But accepting those and then acknowledging your flaws that you can work on, I think, are two keys to growing to love yourself.
Good point. And even weight. I mean, that is something you can work on, right? It's not. You're not. Because that's what I've been doing, and the reason why I purposefully have tried to work out and watch what I'm eating so it's healthy and all of that is getting back into that dating arena. Because I know I have to feel good about myself before I can attract someone who also feels good about themselves. And yes, I want to delve into what you talked about, being yourself emotionally, right? I think that's what you were talking about, right? So give me an example of that.
So if you have a trait about yourself that you don't like, not a physical trait, but a personality trait that you're not content with, the way you act around your family, not I don't mean like toxic behavior, but I mean like you're just not comfortable being yourself around people, being funny or being comfortable around people because you're afraid you'll come off weird or you'll come off obnoxious or something, then it's hard to act around people, because you can put on an act as long as you can. You can try to put on an act for as long as possible, but if you're gonna think long term and you want to marry someone or be in a committed relationship with them, you're not gonna be able to keep that act going forever. They're gonna know your real personality. And there are some things, maybe if someone's acting like you have a habit of, not you, I mean, but if someone has a habit of of being,
They lie.
That's like a toxic trait.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. One moment.
Yep. So if you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in studio today, it is Thursday, so it is my very special series called Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
I'm back.
And Frank Pirolo. And he is doing everything this morning because he's also the sound engineer and he's answering phones at KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere. The station that leaves no listener behind. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about loving yourself before you can love someone else is the topic today. If you have your own ideas or questions about that, please do put them in the chat. We're happy to look and address and dissect them as I am dissecting now Frank's description or examples of admitting to some or being who he is in a relationship. So we're not talking about physical. We're not talking about toxic things. What are we talking about?
I thought of a good example. This one's a one that applies to me. I have some goofy interests in terms of hobbies and what I genuinely enjoy. I'm an aerospace nerd, and I can't. And I used to be kind of insecure about that because, I had all these nerdy hobbies. I built drones and stuff, and the average girl's not that interested in that, which is totally fine. But I can't pretend I'm Mr. Cool, in like I'm into
cars.
Cars, when I'm not. But I still love myself because there's nothing wrong with building drones for a hobby.
I think that's pretty darn cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to be content with your personality and who you are, and every once in a while I'll go through all these matches and then I'll be saying it'll come up. I don't talk about it nonstop. So couples will always have interests that differ. And maybe they don't want to hear constantly about your drone project, but it'll come up and they'll be like, oh, that's weird, or and then other girls be like, that's really cool.
You want to find those kind of girls who think it's kind of cool. They don't have to do it with you, but they're not bothered by what you do. Is definitely important.
Exactly. As long as it's not hurting yourself, or hurting someone, I think people should be content with what they're interested in. And I kind of went on a tangent there, but it ties into loving yourself. Absolutely. And becoming content with yourself. Yeah. And and one thing is that maybe if you can't be yourself around that person and you do love yourself, maybe it's not because you shouldn't be loving yourself, but maybe it's just they're just not that they're bad or they have any issue, but they're just not a match. And they're not the one for you.
Got that language. That's great. I love it when my words get fed back to me. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
I've been learning from I've been sitting here listening to your show every day for 4 months now, I think 3 or 4 months, so I've learned a lot from you, Dr.
Aw, thank you for that, Frank.
No
that
problem.
Was an unexpected but a very wonderful compliment that I'm going to take. So that brings up another example, which is if you can't compliment yourself, you're going to probably look to that person that you're with to compliment you. And I used to say, I'll admit it, did you like the food I just made for you? Do you like the way I look? Do you like this new outfit? Because I was constantly fishing for a compliment, and then he would give me the compliment, and I would say, too late, if I have to ask you to compliment me, it's too late. The poor guy had no chance because he was darned if he did and darned if he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frank's like, yeah, exactly. But that's another side effect of if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect someone else to approve of you? So it is truly, that's where it starts. Because if you don't need someone to compliment you or affirm you or praise you or respect you, then the whole relationship takes on a better, more fun dynamic. That matches so just now you paid me a compliment. So fundamentally, or I could say, oh, thanks, but I've been doing this a long time and I better know what I'm talking about and I better be able to teach it. I am an organizational psychologist, so I better say things that you know what I mean? Like I can completely deflect that back and completely, basically, put you down for doing something nice, or I can know in and of myself what I'm good at and what I'm not, and receive the compliment. So that's the tool that I'm going to offer. And because I'm offering it, I will give out a free audiobook copy of my bestselling book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. Go to drmarissa.life and just put down self-love, because there's a tool in there called Bake Your Own Cake. So when I say love yourself, it means that compliments are icing, criticisms are icing, but the core of who you are, if you bake your own cake and know what do you like. Frank just said, I know that I really am a nerdy kind of love to put drones together, and that's okay with me, and I kind of like that about me. That's called baking the cake. I'll say I love jigsaw puzzles. As crazy as that, I'm not a 90-year-old sitting in a old folks home putting jigsaw puzzles together, but I love putting jigsaw puzzles together. I love playing mahjong.
I respect that, because I do not have the patience for puzzles. I'll spend 5 minutes looking at that puzzle. I'm like, nope, I'm done. Someone who can actually, I've always been bad at things like word searches, and like where it's like you're searching for a specific little thing hidden in a mess of, where's Waldo, word search. I'm never good at that. So I respect your love of puzzles.
Thank you very much. And well, I am so happy to see he's the president of my fan club. Orville Nation is in the chat, and I'm totally baked. What you just said? Orville Nation. His name's PJ. He is streaming in, I think, from Spain, and he also is from New York. And you'll hear his name often. He loves to pop in and give us something to talk about for sure. And thank you for complimenting me. I'm looking quite fine today. I'm actually looking fine because I get to go onto the red carpet tonight at the Newport Beach Film Festival. It is opening night. I'm inviting y'all of you to join me all through this week. It is which annual? My friend Greg Schwenk is the CEO and executive director of the festival. He made it through, COVID, when a lot of places were just like folding down. He brought us the festival, and it is all this week. Let me bring up his site. He has great students. He teaches. I used to teach at UCLA in the MBA school. He teaches at he teaches at a university where his students are doing some of this work promoting, and so that's how I became a sponsor of the Chinese Spotlight film, which is coming on Monday. And if you would like to be my date on Monday, I still don't have a date to that event. It is amazing. I get to cover the red carpet, watch the film, introduce the film before watching the film. And then there's this giant butt party on Monday night at the nightclub there in Newport Beach. And it is on. Lion dancing, everything Asian entertainment, plus free booze, free food, and really good food, not like buffet style. We have all of the really good restaurants throughout Newport Beach area bringing their food. So opening night is tonight. Let's see what's going on. This is where I get to go. The opening night film is The Absence of Eden. Boy, that actress looks familiar. And glasses, I can't see, but there's just incredible films. Spanish director Mark Perego. Cats, Zoe Saldana. That's why I knew that face. So Zoe, you know who Zoe is, right? Saldana. She is in the film. So that's our opening night film. You have to get tickets. If you would like a pair of free tickets to the event on Monday, then go to drmarissa.life and say date. If you already have a date, I have a pair of tickets for you as well. So that is why I'm dressed up. Orville Nation. I get to do carpet work tonight. I actually got to meet Pierce Brosnan when I was there a few years back with his wife. They were doing a film as well called Poisoning Paradise. If you haven't watched that, please do. So, okay, what were we talking about before I went on that tangent?
Something about relationships. I don't know.
Okay. Small topic.
We were talking about
baking your own cake.
Baking your own cake.
Making your own cake. So Frank has a layer of cake called I Love My Nerdiness that comes out in making drones. And I have a layer called Nerdiness, playing board games. I actually went to the, what is that called? They do them on holidays. Strategicon. I went to a Strategicon to play games one year, which is really interesting. And my kids were like, Mom, I go, I have a closet nerd. What can I say? You know, it was so funny because it was really nerd central. And I kind of stand out.
I think most people have a nerdy side, whether or not they admit it. I think most people have that side. One of my two roommates is a fellow DJ. He's trying to Mr. Cool, not in a bad way. Like he's a really cool guy, but he comes off as like Mr. Party Boy cool. And then he has all these comic books, like a whole like rack of comic books. When he moved in, he brings his whole like milk crate full of comic books and action figures. I'm like, oh, he's just a nerd like me.
Well, Orville Nature wants your social media, and you type it. Can you type it in?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, cool. He's looking to look at your stuff. New friend here. This is PJ Frank. He's a friend of mine who introduced himself to me out of the blue like 7 years ago, and now we are like best buds. He's definitely the president of my fan club. And he's wonderful. He's wonderful. He does a lot of great work. He coaches people. He puts amazing events together. He brought me to Carnegie Hall, and he's just wonderful. And he is giving me the I love you too sign. All right. There is one other thing I wanted to say about who you are in baking your own cake. So, I know I was actually going to do something naughty and tell you about jigsaw puzzles. Whenever I put a piece into the place, it's like this mini feeling of that exactly
satisfying.
Yeah, I call it like a mini orgasm. Every time I find a piece that goes into the puzzle, I'm like, that feels like really good. So sorry, that is a TMI, but I wanted to just make Orville laugh. So Frank just put his music channel. He is a DJ, and we're definitely gonna have a party sometime. And he got the laugh that I wanted from DJ from PJ. Because Frank's a DJ. So what does your cake look like? And let me just really punch this Happy 88 tool in, because it's really something interesting for me. I did not discover my inner game girl, my inner fun girl, because I'm a recovering workaholic, until probably like a couple years before COVID. I remember waking up, I had 8 jobs. Literally, I have 8 jobs. I have 8 streams of income. I have 8 major things that I love to do that bring in the income. And people are like, you can't do that. And I said, watch me. And I did. And I don't believe in that master of none, jack of all trades. That's bullshit-talky. You can do a lot of things. So if anybody tells you that, just say thank you very much. Turn around and say, if I look like you, I'd be miserable too. No, I'm just kidding. But it is so important to really go after the things that you really like to do. And if you've never asked yourself the question, what do I like to do that makes me happy? What are those little things that I used to do? I was working with I was coaching executive coaching young leader in an engineering organization. And she said, I love to draw. And she showed me some of her drawings and they're beautiful. And she goes, I said, when was the last time? Oh, it's been a long time. I have so much work. And, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, wow, okay, your cake is underbaked. That layer of cake is underbaked and it's going to collapse on you because you cannot unbalance yourself without feeling the effects of not being balanced. And balance, I mean, you are balance-centered Frank. I am balance-centered Dr. Marissa. PJ is balance-centered Orville Nation. And it's so important to balance yourself out because you cannot keep going just focusing on one thing without at some point falling apart. I guarantee you. So the other reason is creativity is one of the 3 emotions that will make your immune system healthy and your cells work together harmoniously. This is science, folks. This is not, Dr. Marissa's Kool-Aid. This is actually Deepak Chopra. Dr. Deepak Chopra said there are 2 emotions that make you sick: anger, hostility. 3 emotions that will get your cells and immunity to function optimally. That's love, peace, and creativity. So there's your commercial and permission to go and do something you love to do. You also need to know what you don't like to do. So I'm allergic to camping. I hate dirt. And so for me to start dating someone who loves to hike would be stupid. Like, it's okay if they don't like jigsaw puzzles, right? That's my thing. And honestly, when people do my jigsaw puzzle, I get nervous. I don't want them to have the mini orgasms. I want them all for myself. So I don't want you to like doing jigsaw puzzles. That's mine.
What you have to do is when you see them eye a piece and they're kind of like, "Ooh, you just gotta grab it before them." Let them find them for you, but then you have to put it in.
Frank, we could go another way with that comment.
Oh. Don't get me fired, Dr. Marissa, please.
It's not your fault. It's always my fault. So don't worry about it. I'll take all ownership of that. Let's say, I wonder if unbalance is not more correct in my case. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be nice to you, PJ, right now. I've already got Frank in trouble. We're not going to add a cashew gallery to it. But if you've just tuned in, you're wondering why we're laughing our assets off here on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind. That's where you are. And we are talking about loving yourself before you can love someone else in a romantic relationship. And the bottom line, as Frank already reiterated, something we covered a few weeks ago, are you a match? First, if you can't tell, you can't ask the question, are you a match? If you're not tuned into your own cake, you make your own cake. Do you know what you like to do? Do you know what you don't like to do? Do you know what you're good at? Do you know what your quirkiness is? Do you know what you want to work on and what you are your absolute? There's a word that I almost always trip up on. It's not red flag. What is the thing? Deal breaker. I don't know why I can't remember that. There's something I'm not going to analyze now. So, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb?
Ooh.
Don't overanalyze. Don't overanalyze. That's the punchline, Frank. Stop analyzing. And then how many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb?
Okay.
Only one.
Only one.
Only one, but the light bulb has to want to change.
Oh, that's great.
I haven't told that joke in such a long time because people often ask me what's the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist, because I'm the latter. But anyways, let's see. Frank said, oh, wait, I think the jigsaw puzzle thing is really a metaphor for Marissa's personality. What, the orgasm part? The mini orgasm part? Or the, never mind. Let's see. At Squid Space Program is where Frank is. Engineering project. And Orville says it's cool. So we're in our final, 9 minutes? 9
minutes exactly.
9 minutes. All right. So have I made the case for how to love yourself first?
Yes.
Okay. So when you love yourself enough and you know yourself enough, then we graduate to Don Miguel Ruiz, is a wonderful past guest and friend of mine who wrote an amazing book. It probably is my Bible for relationships, and it's called The Mastery of Love. So if you haven't read it before, it's fabulous. And what it does is it points out, and I borrowed some of his concepts and put it in my book, in the chapter Out of Heartbreak into Love. Because once you love yourself, then what? Well, once you love yourself enough, then you do yourself a favor and don't buy a cat. Don't pick a cat if you want a dog. So I have clients who'll say, I love myself. I really, 88% of the time, I think I'm fabulous. 12% of the time, I step in it. But I still seem to end up in relationships that aren't good for me. Why do I do that? Well, that's from a funny picker. So you know that you want someone who loves to travel. You know, because you love to travel, you've come to the understanding you love to travel. You want someone who likes to try new food, loves, going out to restaurants. And you love someone who enjoys going and trying new things, new places, and open their minds and try. Me, I like to try everything once. That's why I'm married and divorced. But try new things. So those are my top 3 things that I want in a guy, right? Then why do I pick or gravitate or when I'm swiping, I'm not asking those 3 questions. I'm just looking at their face, right? I know nothing about them, but I pick people just based on the face. Okay, so yeah, attraction, it's important. But then ask those 3 questions or look at their profile to see if they say, I love, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I love eating in. I don't like going to restaurants because I don't know what they're putting in the food. And I love to go hiking, and I don't like traveling. I hate, airports. Why would I pick that guy? Because he's completely not a match to the things that I know I am. So I would say 80% of people who come to me for relationship coaching have picked someone who is completely not a match and trying to make that person match. And it is absolutely stunning to me how that next step is a missed step. So then what do you do, right?
So if they're not a match, you gotta end it.
Hasta la vista, baby. And when you end it, guess who takes responsibility? You don't call them a jerk. You don't call them, you said you liked, right? You said on your profile you like blah, blah, blah. But if in the first 3 days, right, you can cover those topics. And if you still continue going out with them, guess what? It's on you, right? You put yourself in that situation. And honestly, I see this so much. I get it to the point where I am a strange coach because I do not want you to see me forever. I don't want you. That's why I'm not not knocking therapists, but there is that BS belief system sometimes. I don't want to start therapy because they're going to be there forever. No, you should not be there forever. It should be someone saying to you, I really can't do any more for you. You're good. You just have to practice these things. Rarely do I see that happen, but I am that kind of coach. I don't want to hear from you a year from now saying the same thing. And in fact, I will not fire, but gently let go like the eagle and push him out of the nest and say, you have all the tools now. It's all up to you. I can't help you anymore if you don't want to practice these things that will get you a better relationship, or so you're not complaining about the same thing. So that's my final word. Frank, what's your final word?
Oh, my final word is to work on loving yourself every day, no matter, even if you are in a good relationship, you should always, love yourself. And let's see, what else is my final word? My final word.
Well, let's do it this way. You said drones, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of woman, young woman, would you like to match you? So if we're setting intentions now, this is the last step. We don't have time. Maybe we'll do this next week. What if you could? Wouldn't it be nice? Is the Abraham Hicks way of doing this, and I love it. So I'm going to set the intention for you and say, wouldn't it be nice if Frank met a young woman who actually shared his nerdy love for drones? Wouldn't it be nice if Frank met a young woman who really enjoyed music the way that Frank does? Wouldn't it be nice if Frank met a young woman who absolutely crazy over his butt chin? Wouldn't it be nice if Frank met a young woman who could grow in this thing called life in this space where you are, discovering career-wise all the things that you love to do? So there you go. That is me setting an intention for you. You accepted with every nod. Okay. So now you are going to attract someone who matches you, right? Instead of swiping through haphazardly. Not saying that's what you do, but I know so many young people. It is. How did I know that?
I'll talk to you about. I have an idea for next week that I want to talk to you about. But
perfect. Perfect.
We're down about a minute 15 left.
Got it. Thank you so much, Orville Nation, for joining us today. You have definitely made things a lot of fun. And I am. Let's see, one more. Okay, never mind. He was just looking for you. You got a new fan. So
awesome. Thank you.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed us. I hope you had as much fun as we did. I definitely pushed the edge of the envelope. I might be getting a call from Mark or Fred. But tune in tomorrow. I can't believe it's Friday already with my tempting conversations with Dr. Marissa and Alon Carter. One last push for the Saban Theater. I've given all the tickets away. You might still get a pair if you contact me, drmarissa.life. Tonight is Soul Music. Tomorrow is Boney James, one of my favorite jazz musicians at the Saban. Join me there tomorrow. Join me tonight at opening night at the Newport Beach Film Festival. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through, inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. See you tomorrow.